Welcome to Mission Evolution Radio Show with Gwilda Wiyaka, bringing together today's leading experts to uncover ever-deepening spiritual truths and the latest scientific developments in support of the evolution of humankind. For more information on Mission Evolution Radio with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit www.missionevolution.org. And now, here's the host of Mission Evolution, Miss Gwilda Wiyaka.
We spend close to half of our lives sleeping. What goes on when we dream? Is there a way to tap into and use our dreams? Mission Evolution Radio TV show is coming to you around the world on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net. With us this hour to examine the dream time is an old friend of Mission Evolution, Von Braschler. Von is the author of numerous books on consciousness development that range from time travel to visualization, energy healing, and thought power. His latest book is Lucid Dreams. Von is a former award-winning journalist and a former faculty member of the Omega Institute for Holistic Studies. To find out more about Von, visit his Facebook page, facebook.com/vbraschler. Von, thank you so much for joining us again on Mission Evolution. Thanks for joining us again on Mission Evolution, Von.
Thank you for having me.
So, how did you first become interested in dreams?
Well, I like everyone else, I go to sleep and I have dreams. But something remarkable happened to me a number of years ago. I had the first of a series of continuing lucid dreams, and I found that I could actually control my lucid dreams. I could actually program them. I could actually set them up, continue them, and call them up and actually direct where I would go and what I would dream. And my dreaming has been very insightful and very beneficial ever since then.
Fantastic. So, what all kinds of dreams are there? You were talking about lucid dreaming, but what other kinds are there?
Well, I always say that most people have what we'd call stress dreams. These are dreams of a restless night when you aren't really fully asleep. You might be tossing and turning. We call those often nightmares or suppressed memories. But what happens is you're not fully asleep. Your body might be mostly asleep, but your physical mind, your brain is still cranking away on yesterday's worries, what happens next. All of these things are just cranking away, and you're trying to analyze them and play them out again. And those are not really good dreams. They're just hashing over things that are unresolved. So I say that a lucid dream is more than just a dream. It's something very, very special, very insightful. Now, the ancients called them prophetic. They called them divine inspiration. They said that you would actually leave your body, you would go somewhere, you would have meetings of a high nature. You can prophesize the future. You could determine healing remedies and concerns. You could explore things that are very meaningful to you on a deep soul level. And I found then that actually the ancients used to do dream work 5,000 years ago, maybe even earlier.
Which ancients do you speak of?
Well, there were many. Now we can go back easily 3,000 BC and even earlier. We know the ancient Sumerians would put a lot of faith in dreams. The Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Mesopotamians. And then we go forward, we'd see like the Egyptians who would actually induce dreams. We'd see the Greeks who would actually have dream temples. And then, we had the Morphic mysteries. Morpheus was the god of dreams. A current popular theme in all of history of dream work is that is that there would be a divine connection in your dreams, that your soul would go somewhere and have prophetic and divine inspiration. So then you go forward into the Greeks, and the Greeks had dream temples. And then we know that Hippocrates, father of medicine, believed it. Aristotle believed very much into it, very much of it. Then you go forward, and we see in North America, we see the dream walkers of the Native American tradition, who would go into deep, we would call them trances, but they were dreamlike uh, um, departures beyond time and space, where they would go and visit with the ancestors. They would go into the past. They would time travel into the future to see what the future holds. We know that in early India, they believed that part of the soul would leave, and the part of the soul would explore and then bring back insight with it. And this is true of ancient China. It's true around the world. We know that the early Jews believed very much in the power of dreams. The early Buddhists believe that you would time travel in your dreams, and they believed in group dreaming or group soul dreaming. There is a great tradition in around the world, and in many religious traditions. Now, the Christian Church believed in dreams up to a point, and that point was was the Inquisition, wasn't it? And then we had people like Martin Luther, who believed that dreams were the work of the devil. You know, the devil's own work. Prince of Darkness would enter your dreams, and the Renaissance rescued it. Um, Coming out of the Protestant Reformation certainly hurt, but then coming out of it, we had a lot of artists. We had the great painting of Jacob's Ladder, and then going forward even to today, modern painters like Gauguin and Rousseau would paint about dreamers. And
So, Vaughn, how important? And I know a lot of dreams can be metaphorical.
yeah,
How important is the ability to recognize and interpret metaphors in your dreams?
well, okay, the idea of a dream book, a dream dictionary, dream book goes back all the way to like the 5th century BC in Greece. And we see even today popularity of dream books. And you could look up, what is a turtle? I dream of a black bird. What does it mean? I dreamt of a snake. What does it mean? It. I think the answer is, of course, these things have meaning, but they have personal meaning to you, which is to say, it's very subjective. And I know a lot of people like to go and have their dreams interpreted. But I encourage people to always try to interpret their own dreams. Go into a low level meditation where you're just contemplating, you're mulling it over, and let it settle upon you. When we come back from a deep dream, a deep lucid dream, which is very colorful and very animated and very unique, in that it might not have anything to do with events of the past in your memory, then you need to analyze exactly what happened. And I think the best way to do that is to let your inner consciousness absorb the dream and then just kind of sort it out.
So,
You know, you you
how do you let your inner consciousness absorb the dream?
I think the best way is when you're returning from a lucid dream is to just lie there in bed without getting up, without even opening your eyes, and just let the dream kind of filter in, just kind of I call it, internalizing the dream. And the events of where you've been, what you've learned, the insightful nature of the dream then becomes your part of your inner makeup, becomes you in effect. And it's impossible, really, with a lucid dream, if you believe that the consciousness has left the body, gone somewhere outside of your realm of experience, your internal memory. it's really impossible to have your physical brain analyze it because it wasn't there. It doesn't know. It has no memory of this. This is something totally new. This is dreams outside of our normal day-to-day lives.
So,
To answer your question, I think that you let your inner consciousness kind of sort it out. Now, I do advocate after that point, uh, get up, open your eyes, sit at a table, and just jot down an outline of who, what, when, and where, and why. You can't really analyze it too deeply. You can't really establish the deepest meaning because that's only known on a deep inner side of you, your inner consciousness. But your analytical mind can make an outline of where you've been and the highlights, so that this is useful. This is useful as a point of reference in future setting up of continuation dreams.
interesting. So, we're just about out of time in this segment, but when we return from our quick break, I kind of like to get into how a person can tell if they're lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
Vaughn and I will return very shortly. So don't you go away. This is Mission Evolution, www.missionevolution.org. Are you interested in evolving with the times and becoming all you can be? Don't you wish there was one place to find the latest information to help guide you through the process? I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, host of Mission Evolution Radio TV. Join me on my mission to find the latest evolutionary knowledge and tools. The guests on Mission Evolution are leading experts in a wide variety of divergent topics, including allopathic, holistic, and integrative medicine, epigenetics, enlightenment, quantum physics, meditative practices, environmental issues, spiritual evolution, trauma healing, and so much more. Mission Evolution Radio TV is aired worldwide through the X-Zone Broadcast Network, X-Zone TV Channel 32 on Simul TV. You can enjoy our archives of radio or TV shows with our compliments at www.missionevolution.org. Come see the amazing lineup of guests and topics. With more than 200 episodes to choose from, you're sure to find what you're looking for. Visit www.missionevolution.org. What are lucid dreams? With us this hour discussing the mysterious dreamscape is the author of Lucid Dreams, Von Braschler. Von, as promised, we're going to get into lucid dreaming here. So can you kind of define a lucid dream? Because I'm still not real clear on what makes a dream lucid exactly.
Yes, a lucid dream is a dream outside of the ordinary. It is not part of your memory. It is not part of anything that's taken part in your past. It is totally new. It is totally creative. In short, it is a dream of your inner consciousness as opposed to your outer physical brain remembering something. Therefore, that separates it from what we would call common dreams, or commonly stress dreams, or even nightmares.
Okay.
A lot of the research in dreams has been simply of what we call common dreams or nightmares, often called cold sweat dreams.
So how common are common dreams versus lucid dreams?
Common dreams are very common,
That's why we call them common, right?
and I it's important for people to try to get away from those, really, because they are stressful. They are brought out on by stress, and they make you even more stressful. They don't really solve anything. You can't really solve a problem that was bothering you during the daytime when you couldn't analyze it, with using your tremendous physical brain power. And then, as my teacher always says, you expect now to solve it when you're asleep. No. But your inner consciousness is something else. Now, if people want to think of that as your soul or your inner awareness, it is your conscious awareness. It is very important. Think of a lucid dream is not only vivid and impactful and colorful, but it is a dream where your inner consciousness takes control and steps out there and takes you somewhere. And I would encourage people to think of a lucid dream as a dream outside the physical body. It is a dream. Think of like dream walkers in the Native American or shamanic tradition, where they actually go outside space and time. They're actually voyaging, going somewhere.
But
And
they don't necessarily go to sleep to enter that state, do they?
they go into a deep, deep trance,
Trance.
or we would call it a meditation,
Hmm.
or here for this purpose, we'll call it a dream state. But this dream state it takes you to a dreamscape, which is outside the physical body, and it is your consciousness leaving you. Now, people think, "Oh, that's crazy. How could your consciousness leave you?" It happens all the time, folks. Your thoughts are traveling outside you all of the time, and when we say your thoughts are traveling outside your body all of the time, it means that you're projecting your thoughts. We're always doing this, but most people don't do it consciously and with direction and with purpose and intent. And in a dream, your consciousness is leaving your body and it's traveling outside of you. And when we say outside of you, I mean physically outside of you, and outside of even space and time, if you like.
So if you're indeed having a lucid dream
Yeah.
and you're traveling outside of yourself into an environment, can you then impact that environment through the lucid dream?
The quick answer is going to be no. And when I talked about, I think on your show before, about time travel, I had the same reaction. You are basically a witness to that. Keep in mind that you don't have hands, you don't have physical hands, you don't have physical feet.
Yeah, but
You
you've got
know,
energy.
you have energy. You have
Mhm.
energy. Now, what you can do is you can actually energize yourself. You see, and you can go actually and visit yourself at an earlier time in your life, or even a previous life, and send energy to yourself, and it will have bounce back effect to where you are right now. You will not impact that scene because that scene is independent from you. Think of yourself as going as a witness to this place. You're like the fly on the wall with 100 eyes. You see all, you know all, but the fly has very little impact on the event. And
Well,
so
there's the observer effect though,
the
where
observer.
our expectations affect outcome. Wouldn't that function if part of our energy is in the past that something could be shifted there?
It would have impact to you in if you're visiting you at an earlier scene.
Right. So that's coming from your
Absolutely.
present and healing yourself in the past. Is
That's right.
that's how some of the basic shamanic healing practices work.
Right, right.
Okay.
And I think that, I think this happens all the time. People are often traveling and visiting things in this fashion, and they may not even be conscious of it on a certain level. That is to say, they are of course aware of it on a subconscious level, but it is hard then for the analytical mind to absorb what's transpired. But this happens all of the time, and yes, you can have tremendous impact by going back and observing things to what you bring back. Think of the shamanic traveler. The shamanic traveler comes back with tremendous insight of what he has seen in the past or even in the future. So that's an important factor. But the ancients, I mean, going back to the early Greeks and even before, they believed that not only there would be prophecy, there would be divine guidance and insight from going to these places. Gilgamesh, for example, the Epic of Gilgamesh, from uh, early Sumerian times. Gilgamesh believed that he actually went, spoke to the gods, and came back with great guidance. You know, and that is something that we see throughout 5,000 years of recorded dream work, is that there would be divine guidance and insightfulness that you bring back with you.
So is the dream state then kind of like a portal out to move you outside of time and space,
Yeah,
where during our waking time we're here in this track that we may or may not create ourselves,
yeah,
but we're in this linear reality that we all kind of agree on. But
yeah.
when we sleep, which is what, a third of our lives,
Third of our lives.
we're out of time and space, but mostly unconscious of what we're doing.
That's right.
How do you bring it conscious?
How do you bring it conscious? The consciousness is actually in programming the lucid dream.
Okay.
Uh, so in dream work, if you really want to make it into usefulness, the art of dream work is actually learning how to induce the dream, as even the ancient Egyptians tried to do, induce the dream, and then actually focus, as the ancient Greeks did, on actually setting up the dream, and then continuing the dream process in an ongoing way, so that you actually then would pre-visualize what you want to dream, pre-visualize with great intent, mind you, with great intent, where you want to go, what you want to learn, and then actually set yourself up to where the body is physically at rest, totally at rest, and the physical mind or brain is totally at rest, and allowing then, through great inner harmony of body, mind, and spirit, allowing your inner consciousness to come forward and then make the pre-visualized dream uh, a reality. So what we're talking about here involves a little bit of magic, but it's very realistic for a person to do pre-visualization.
So if,
To
if a person if a person is doing this,
Yeah,
they're setting it all up ahead of time and then they go try to get some shut eye and have it operate once you're asleep. Is that what you're doing?
that's right. That's
So
right.
it's not
So
not necessarily going into a ritualistic
yeah.
trance so much as set up ahead of time, set your intent, and then go to sleep and have a dream.
Yeah, so I mean, before I was trying to tell people how to do astral projection and astral travel, and I was trying to explain to people how time travel is possible, and I was trying to explain to them how to set up the meditations and actually do this, and then I realized that everybody kind of from time to time does this almost accidentally, and we call this lucid dreaming. So it's much easier, more easier than, say, meditation or time travel, to control your dreams. And in your controlled dreams, you can virtually go anywhere. I mean, anywhere.
Is journaling these pretty important? So you journal the setup and then you journal the dream when you wake up and kind of put them together and see what they say if you cross
Yeah,
reference.
yeah. But I think going back to yoga, you really need to visualize. You need creative visualization to
Okay.
decide what you're going to do, and make an agenda of as specific as you can, where you want to go and what you want to see and what you want to learn. And it could be, I always say, if you're going to actually visualize this, creatively visualize this, don't write it down. Don't make words of it. Even in your head, don't make words of it. Don't make sounds of it. Actually draw pictures in your head.
So you're
Draw
working through imagery.
imagery. Imagery is very important. Because when you, here's the reason, when you start thinking of words or verbalizing, then you're actively engaging the physical mind, the analytical mind. And once the analytical mind is involved, it is taking charge. This is my game. And it's like
Puts you right back into linear reality, yes?
linear reality. And then you're going to have an imaginary trip inside your head. And you're not really, it's going to be fun, but you're not really going to go anywhere and really learn anything. You're going
Well,
to be
it is time for a break. Vaughn and I will be right back to continue our discussion. So you stay right there. This is Mission Evolution, www.missionevolution.org. You have a product or service you'd like to promote to a worldwide audience? Imagine your product featured on Mission Evolution Radio TV. If you're interested in showcasing your work, Mission Evolution is broadcast to the X Zone TV Channel 32 Simul TV, on the X Zone Broadcast Network, YouTube, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Audible, and many other audio and social media platforms. Our professional studios can produce and broadcast your custom high-quality ad. It will be permanently embedded in each episode and featured in the archives for years to come. Together, we can make it happen. Contact us at info@missionevolution.org for more details. Spaces are limited, so don't miss out on this great opportunity. Email info@missionevolution.org today. Can we meet in our dreams? This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. With us discussing dreams is Von Braschler. Visit his Facebook page at facebook.com/vbraschler. Vaughn, can you meet people in your dreams and consciously communicate with them?
Absolutely, and I've done it. It's kind of frightening the first time it happens because you think, "Oh my gosh, I thought this was my dream," and then the other person is, "Oh my gosh, I thought this was my dream." So what I found is that a lot of people that I would encounter in a dream state, they might not be in a dream state. They might be actually living, and I might be popping in on them. But if I'm visiting somebody and they happen to be also in a dream state, most people aren't fully conscious of the fact that they're in a dream state. They're reluctant to admit that they're in a dream and somebody else is in the dream and they're dreaming simultaneously. So I've encountered people like this before. Now here's the thing that maybe our audience can identify with. Many people have had the dream of being in what's called the upper room. Okay, the upper room dream is a dream where you're in a room with other people, and typically you might be around a circle. You'd be forming in a circle. Maybe you'd all be sitting on the floor in a circle, and someone comes into the room and maybe sits in the middle of the room and starts talking to everybody, and they seem to be talking directly to you. But the trick is they're talking to everybody simultaneously on a very personal level. And people think, "Oh my gosh, you had that dream too, the upper room dream?" Okay. So what I would suggest to you is that everybody in that room was dreaming and we were all there together. And it was a lucid dream, and it was an insightful dream of learning. And it was a higher level learning.
So if we're in linear reality, awake, present,
Okay.
it's linear, right?
Yes.
Go into a dream state,
Yes.
the other person doesn't necessarily have to be dreaming exactly that same time, do they?
That's right.
Because they can visit the dream later. You're already awake and walking around. They go to the same dream later and meet you there. So how do you keep this straight?
Well, yeah. Here's something that probably will interest people. The idea of shared dreams. Now, you can actually share a dream with somebody, but the trick to sharing dream is to answer your question, um, the trick to it is that you both need to have the same pre-visualized format of what you're going to dream. You have the same goals in mind. So
Let me stop you
yeah,
for a minute. So
yeah,
you're talking now about consciously choosing to share a dream.
consciously sharing to choose a
Okay.
dream, and in this fashion, you can set up a time and place and conditions, and then you're going to be simultaneously dreaming. And you can do this, and you will then Absolutely, absolutely, you will see someone else, and you'll be there at let's say real time. Okay, you're going to be in shared time. You're going to be in the same time. You'll be simultaneously having the same imagery and the same experience, and you'll be conscious of each other. That's very important because it's very important in a lucid dream that everybody in the dream is extremely aware where they are and what they're doing. So I always encourage people, uh, adjust yourself, convince yourself that you're there, and what you're doing is you're gathering all your awareness. See, now you have a lot of awareness, conscious awareness in a dream state. Uh, because your inner consciousness, unlike your physical self, has much more going for itself than five physical senses. It has a lot more. So it's not going to be like the same. It's not going to be like touch and see and touch and feel and smell. It's going to be different, but it'll be keener and more acute, and the powers of observation can be much stronger. Um, so that you'll have this and you'll be there with someone else. Now, the advantage of a simultaneous dream is that you're going to be coming back with a common um, description of what you've seen, and you can actually compare. And this is extremely valuable that you come back and then you can talk about it later on.
I say I've got a kind of an odd one for you that comes
Mhm.
from my experience. My son and I are really close and wired the same way. And years ago, he started coming to me in my dreams, if you
Yeah,
will, and telling me what I needed to tell him,
yeah, yeah.
which was very strange. But when I do that, then whatever it was that he told me to tell him would take place later.
Yes.
So is that sharing a dream? What exactly is that?
No, that's it. Now, in sharing a dream, it is better that it would be like a sibling. It would be better that it would be a child, a relative, a very close friend. Ideally, it would be a twin. Now, it could be like a twin soul. You know, it could be your soulmate. It could be your best friend. um, People to whom you are very, very close and have a connection. These are really good people to share a dream with. And yes, you are going to have exactly the same outlook on the dream, but everyone is going to be ultimately analyzing it slightly different, and that's why it's good to share a dream. Now, many people could share a dream, and I'm not the first person to think of this. This is ancient technology. It's not just two people; it could be a group of people, and this is extremely powerful to think
So,
about it.
so when you have a whole bunch of people
Yeah,
getting together and sharing a dream, a vision,
yeah,
does that then indeed empower said dream or vision to take place in ordinary reality?
absolutely.
Ooh,
Because
this is fun.
yes, yes, absolutely. Now, our audience might remember the Maharishi Yoga. He talked about the Maharishi effect. Think about this. He said if 1% of the population would get together and meditate on something, how profound it would be. Now let's break this down. He's talking about raising your consciousness, lifting your consciousness out and projecting it out, your projecting your thought forms out, and he said toward peace. Now, the Maharishi effect has been practiced around the world with great results. People have noticed a drop in crime everywhere people have done this. We're talking about doing this on a huge level in our dreams. The same effect as the Maharishis, 10 people or 1% meditating in this fashion, projecting their conscious thoughts outward, can be done in your lucid dreams.
Makes you think that we should start training our children to do this when they're little. I mean, it should
Absolutely.
it should be a class in school because it's a
Absolutely.
third of our lives going to waste if we are spend our lives unconscious of what goes on when we dream.
Well, I think you've cut on something, Gwilda. This is really big. We all need to be thinking about our dream time and making it count, because this is the time when our inner soul needs to explore, needs to grow, and needs to determine. It needs to find its way. As far as the evolution of the soul, there's so few opportunities during the day. The way we live our lives in these linear fashions with our analytical minds, pocket calculators running our lives for us, it is very difficult for our inner consciousness, our very soul, to evolve in a physical life. Now, your dream time is very special. It is a time when your inner consciousness can actually explore, can actually go outside of you and actually learn. It is a time when you can actually evolve. It is a time when you can actually explore your life purpose, your destiny, the arc of your life, and why are you here, and what your inner soul, your inner consciousness is the one part of you, your one facet that actually knows everything about you, where you've been, why you're here, and what you should be doing. Why don't we listen to it? Listen
It's
to it in your dreams.
it would seem like we have in our waking linear reality, we're trying off all this technology to achieve this, to achieve that,
Yeah,
when we have absolute unlimited access to it when we
yeah,
sleep.
absolutely. The irony is that you're fully awake only when you're fully asleep.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. So, does this only happen? And we're about out of time in this segment, but does this only happen during what they call the REM stage of sleep?
It is very close to that. It is a time when you're in a deep sleep. Yes. So
Deep sleep or REM? Those are two different.
oh, okay. Yeah, the rapid eye movement comes usually when you're like the last. Typically, you could do this early, just before you wake up is an ideal time to do it. But the way I have crafted this thing, programming your dreams, you could do it as soon as you close your eyes and you physically are to sleep. In fact, you could do this in a waking dream. You could do this in a daydream. And this is something
Daydreams. Love
yeah,
it. Yeah.
absolutely.
So when you're and we are about out of time in this segment, but when you're in waking state, but you kind of go into that,
Yeah.
it changes your brain waves when you go into a daydream. If you measure brain waves, when a person goes into a daydream state, they actually go into a different. I think they go from beta to
Delta,
heading towards alpha.
alpha,
Yeah, yeah, out of alpha and then into delta. Delta is the really deep sleep.
deep, deep.
Deep, deep, deep.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, it is that wonderful moment. We're going to have to take another station break. Please stay with us as Vaughn and I continue to explore the hidden powers of dreams. This is Mission Evolution, www.missionevolution.org. Are you interested in evolving with the times and becoming all you can be? Don't you wish there was one place to find the latest information to help guide you through the process? I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, host of Mission Evolution Radio TV. Join me on my mission to find the latest evolutionary knowledge and tools. The guests on Mission Evolution are leading experts in a wide variety of divergent topics, including allopathic, holistic, and integrative medicine, epigenetics, enlightenment, quantum physics, meditative practices, environmental issues, spiritual evolution, trauma healing, and so much more. Mission Evolution Radio TV is aired worldwide through the X-Zone Broadcast Network, X-Zone TV Channel 32 on Simul TV. You can enjoy our archives of radio or TV shows with our compliments at www.missionevolution.org. Come see the amazing lineup of guests and topics. With more than 200 episodes to choose from, you're sure to find what you're looking for. Visit www.missionevolution.org. Is there such a thing as parallel lives? If so, can we visit them in our dreams? This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. We're continuing our discussion with Von Braschler. Visit his Facebook page to find out more about him at facebook.com/vbraschler. So, Von, there's the question of the day. Do we have parallel lives?
Well, I'm glad you brought this up because I think the more people get into lucid dreaming, the more conscious they're going to be aware. And I'm choosing the term conscious very purposely. They're going to be consciously aware that they are, in fact, a party to a parallel life. And in this parallel life, they can visit. They can visit this parallel life. They can check in from time to time, and they'll find that there's a similarity between that person and you, and that you can actually find parallel qualities as far as what you're doing. You might actually be living in a different place, of course, and you might be having a different kind of occupation, but you're probably going to have the same people around you. Not necessarily. I'm very conscious of a parallel life that I live, and I visit it frequently. And the more I do lucid dreaming, the more often I check in on this person, and I find out how this person is doing, and I have a little connection to this but person. It is a parallel life, and it is something you can visit very easily. Now, people very often, when they get into lucid dreaming, they want to go and visit maybe an earlier time in their life. They might want to check in with past lives. They might want to check into exotic locations, which are appealing. They might want to look in on other people they are familiar with, concerned about, but they rarely think that there might be a parallel universe, a parallel reality, and parallel lives to the one that they call my life in the here and now. And this is something you can visit in a lucid dream. It's maybe a little jarring for some people to think about, but this is not the only reality.
What would the purpose be? What could you gain by visiting a parallel life? I mean, can you hop from lifetime to lifetime intentionally? Not just observing, but being there?
It is a point of comparison. Let me give you an example. I'm so familiar with my parallel life and the people that are in it that sometimes when things are going better in that parallel life, I can see tweaks that I can make in this physical life of mine now. I'll call this the here and now. Um, that they're not so obvious to me, and I can say, oh, this is how they resolved it in the beta world. I'll call it the beta world, and it's like, oh my gosh, and it's like, here's another example. My brother who died when I was 4
Mhm.
is still alive in the beta world, um, and we visit, you know, because in the beta world he didn't die, you know. Um, there are a lot of examples like that of where things have taken a slightly different course. Now you think of destiny and you think of timelines, and there are many different realities playing out simultaneously. Many different many different times are being played out simultaneously.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. There's also the concept of timelines. So, on a timeline,
Yeah.
it's like you come up to a point in your life and there's a choice to make. And if you choose A, it puts you on this timeline. If you choose B, it puts you on that timeline. Is that accurate? And how does that differ from
I,
parallel
s-
life?
I've spent a lot of time thinking about this. Actually, I think that there's one timeline, but there's one conveyor belt, and they're all flowing, and it depends on where you want to jump on the timeline. You want to go to point A or point B or point C. It's just where you jump on the conveyor belt. and it'll eventually loop back and take you exactly where you are. Because it's all looped. I mean, everything is looped. Everything is we're circles within circles. It defines reality,
Or
and
wheels within wheels, right?
we're wheels within wheels. Yeah, it's all circular. We're going to be looking back on ourselves. If you don't believe me, just start walking in any direction. Eventually, you'll get exactly where you are now. So it's true. And so yes, you can go at different points on the timeline, and there's different realities on the timeline, just like your life, the arc of your life can take many turns, but it eventually is going to take you to the end line, which is home.
Do you think that we can shift, again, bringing our
Yeah,
energy
yeah,
consciously
yeah.
into a lucid dream? Do you think we can shift outcome for our lives and or for the parallel life?
You can gain a lot of insight as to uh, what the future may hold or what the past indicates. You can't so much shape the outcome as understand the outcome.
So if you do a lucid dream into the future of your life on this timeline,
Yeah.
and you see an outcome that's not to your liking, when you become awake, if you remember that dream, can you make different choices and end up someplace different?
Yes, but I got to go back to the Akashic records. I'm
Oh,
so,
by all
I,
means, let's.
I'm sorry. Everybody thinks the Akashic records. If we can only go to the Akashic records and check out what's going to happen, then we'll know. Okay, it's like the Akashic. We're all uh, defined in our life course, determined by many different energies that are at play. Think of the ripples in a pond, and there are we create our ripples, and then there are other ripples, and then all the ripples form one big ripple, and then another ripple bangs into that ripple, and so all of these energies together form the outcome. So we're just a ripple in the pond. Does that help?
It does. And it's all circles, right? Ripples and
It's
circles.
all circles. So the other day I was hiking, and you can go to my Facebook and you see this. And I saw this pond, and I saw all these ripples, and I realized that all the ripples bend back on each other, and every ripple affected the next ripple. And I said, "Oh my gosh!" I'm just like my cat. My cat stares at water. I'm staring at this pond, and I'm thinking like, "Oh, yeah, that's it." So, I mean, we're somewhere in there is us, and knowing where we are, and where everyone else is useful, and it helps us to adjust, but we can't totally control our destiny.
Got it. So, Vaughn, it's that time of the show, and I get to ask you, what's your mission?
Well, I decided a long time ago, actually, that it was pretty much going to be this. Now I'm going to focus all my attention on dreams. So what I did was I produced this thing called a ancient wisdom scroll, which is called Lucid Dreams, and unfortunately, it was so expensive to produce that we're only going to do it once. And so, unfortunately, they're going to become collector's items. We're not going to do any more scrolls because they're really beautiful. And there was only one place in the world that could produce them. And they're rather elaborate. So, there's only going to be so many of these scrolls. But the Lucid Dreams scroll was an introduction to the topic of programming lucid dreams. So I just read Galley on a new book, which will come out next spring, called Programming Lucid Dreams. And that is a step by step guide as far as preparing the body, doing the creative visualization steps, the imagery, actually setting up the dreams, having continuation dreams, returning to a lucid dream, doing the dream work, cataloging the dream work, and doing dream work on an ongoing basis that's meaningful. Because I think that dreams are probably the best thing that's person could focus on. It's easier to dream if you think about it than to meditate. And the end results are going to be about the same. It's easier to dream than to say to do a vision quest if you were a shaman, but the effects are going to be about the same. So if you could learn to control your dreams and dream effectively, dream work is going to be very beneficial for you in exploring your greater life purpose, why you're here, what you should be doing in your life, and continuing your life course in a meaningful fashion so that you evolve spiritually. Your consciousness can evolve in this lifetime to return home, come back, do it again, and do it again and again and again and again. It's all circles. We're all going to be back here again. And if we don't get it right this time, we'll be doing it next time.
Guess what? You get another shot at it, right?
That's right.
Well, we're virtually out of time, Vaughn. Tell us real quick, are there still scrolls available?
There are scrolls. We did the Lucid Dream scrolls, and we did one on past lives,
Mhm.
which are kind of intertwined, the two subjects. And those are still available, and then but we won't be repeating them because of the cost factor.
You got it.
So the
Well,
rest.
we're going to have to call it good because we are out of time. Vaughn, thanks so much for coming on the show and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you.
Our guest this hour has been Von Braschler, the author of numerous books on conscious development, including his latest, Lucid Dreams. To find out more about Von, you can visit his Facebook page, facebook.com/bbraschler. This has been Mission Evolution with Gwilda Wiyaka. For more information or to enjoy past archived episodes, visit www.missionevolution.org. But please be sure to join us right here next time. This mission will continue, bringing information, resources, and support to an evolving world.